Hi guys, it's Nick. Welcome back to my channel. Okay, so one of my rules here on YouTube is I like to get to the point of a video within like the first 30 to 45 seconds. A lot of you have said that in my video. You love that I don't blab on about a bunch of stuff. And that's the reason for that is because I really value your time and I want to know that, you know, there's lots of things that are competing for your time here on YouTube. Like Mr. Beast has probably put like 80 packs of Jell-O in a pool somewhere and like, I can't compete with that. Like that's interesting. I want to see that. And I want to know that if you are going to click on my video, you're going to get the value out of it. Unfortunately, what that means is I don't really have a lot of time to talk about some of the personal things going on in my life, talk about my background, or for me to answer some questions that I know you guys have. So that's why I did this Q&A. All the timestamps are in the description so you can zip around. Anyway, let's get going and let's talk about it. So I've got my iPad here and I got my glasses, so you know I'm serious. So let's get to question number one. When can we get a house tour? Okay, I get asked this a lot. I totally hear you. Here's the deal. I had a flood back in my old apartment. Well, it is actually the apartment that I own in about November. Basically 4 o'clock in the morning, we all of a sudden heard water like from coming inside the apartment and we're like, okay, it rains a lot in Vancouver, but not inside. And sure enough, water was gushing through the light fixtures and all of our hardwood flooring was completely ruined. So we basically kind of in an emergency situation had to have all of our flooring taken up and then move into an Airbnb. That's where I'm here now. This is why my background is a little meh. You do not want a tour of this place. Like it's fine, but like it's not my house. So you guys don't necessarily want a tour of this place, but you want a tour of my old place. And I will do a house tour when I move back in. I think I'm probably scheduled to move back in probably in the next month or so. And then once I'm in and I'm settled, I will for sure do a house tour and tell you everywhere about where I got stuff and we're gonna do a whole thing. Okay, question number 2 is, can you talk slower? No is the short answer. No, okay, so here's the deal. Some of you guys think that I talk really quickly. Some of you guys think that you like the speed that I talk because I'm able to deliver a lot of content in a short amount of time. So I actually did try to talk slower in one video and it was like so unnatural. I ended up taping the video again. Like guys, this is how I talk. No, I can't talk slower. Thanks for the feedback, but there it is. No, I can't. Question number 3, can you tell the difference if a home was decorated by an interior designer, an interior decorator with no formal degree in design, or a really talented homeowner? If it's done well, I can't tell. I think the biggest difference is that interior designers, when they set out to work on a project, they do a lot of the work up front. I find homeowners tend to just sort of piece things together and throw things together as they go. I find designers, you know, they sit back, they start a project and, you know, they do all their space planning. They make sure the color palette's kind of in line. They have kind of the vision. They've got their mood boards. Like they've got that stuff set up. They've got their samples. They make sure it all works together. They sort of do a lot of that stuff from the beginning. And as a result, I think the place looks really cohesive when they actually get to the end of the project. That doesn't mean that a homeowner can't do that too. I just find that homeowners usually sort of make it up as they go rather than be really intentional. So no, of course you can't tell the difference. I mean, they don't have superpowers. Designers are human beings. It's just that their system and the approach that I think that they've learned over the years tends to create a more cohesive project at the end. Question number 4, what is your background? Do you have a degree? Yes, okay, here's the thing. So I actually did not go to interior design school. So I originally went to business school and I worked in HR for like about 5, 6, 7 years. Bet you didn't see that coming. And then I actually opened a juice company in 2013. And I ended up opening a few stores in that time, which was an amazing experience. And I worked with a designer at the beginning and I really realized through those several years that I liked creating stores more than I liked owning and operating a juice company, which is a bit of a red flag. So I really just kind of became jealous of the people that I was working with that kind of helped to kind of build those stores. So then I actually did my own renovation where I designed all my own place. And I just sort of realized that I really just kind of fed this love of design that was always sort of lingering and has been there for a long, long time. I never really fully embraced it because I always thought of myself, again, I went to business school, so I thought of myself as a really strategic person and not a creative person, which is probably funny to you guys because you probably think of me as a creative person, but I never really thought of myself that way. So I was always interested in design, always passionately learning about new things. I got to apply it in sort of my stores and in my personal life. And then I started my own direct-to-consumer bathroom fixture company. And I work a lot with designers because we have a trade program there. So just sort of reinforced my love of design that has always been there. And I've been able to use sort of at different parts of my job. But no, I've never been to design school. I just sort of, you know, I've been quite passionate about it for a while, learned a lot about it, and thought, why not share it in a YouTube channel? I'm very flattered that you think I have a formal education in design, but no, I do not. I went to business school, so there you go. Okay, how did you get started on YouTube? So the YouTube channel actually really came from my business, Ollie Nickel. So again, I created this business to solve kind of my own problem of my own renovation gone weird. And so I started this business because I thought there must be kind of an easier way to be able to get the stuff that you need to do a renovation, a kitchen or a bathroom renovation, rather than go to the really expensive showrooms. So kind of that was sort of the vision. And then I ended up working a lot with designers, and I worked with a lot of like influencers. I hate that word. And was giving away product, and I thought, well, this is dumb. Like, I need to get the word out on how this is a problem, and I'm trying to work on this and I'm trying to solve it. But it's very difficult to get anybody to care about your little tiny small business. And so I thought, well, my partner always told me that I would be really great on YouTube, and I was like, that's not really me. I don't know how to make a video. And then one day I was just like, you know what, screw it. I've got all this kind of, knowledge of interior design that I've kind of picked up. I think I have an interesting perspective because I came at it from the client side by being a client of an interior designer and then also doing it myself. So I'm not really kind of that formal designer that went to school. So I feel like I've got kind of a bit of a different perspective in that way. And that's kind of what landed me on YouTube. Okay, next question. What is your favorite room in the house to decorate? I would say powder rooms. I think powder rooms you can get really funky and wild. You can do crazy tile, you can do really funky wallpaper. You can just do some really, really interesting things. And it's such a small room. It's really self-contained, so you can do something really special and unique, and you don't have to necessarily carry that through into the rest of your space. And I love, love, love that, you can surprise somebody when they walk into a really cool powder room, and it's just like, okay, this is just a really cool little space. So I would definitely say powder room. How can I combine different wood tones to make a space feel cohesive? I'm gonna do a video on wood tones because that seems to be coming up a lot. I would say the short answer is be mindful of the undertones, either match something perfectly or create contrast if you can. And be really wary about matching really old items and really new. So like matching, say like a luxury vinyl plank next to like 40-year-old hardwood is probably not gonna work. So you either need to create some sort of break or separation. So just be mindful of putting really old versus new. I would love to know how your style and approach to design has evolved. Okay, so the biggest thing I would say is because I approached it as a business owner, I definitely was a lot more structured as I went along. I also learned a lot from the designers that I've had the pleasure of working with over the years. The designers, as I mentioned, are really quite systematic, I think, in the approach of how they kind of view a project. And as a business owner, that's how I had to do it as well. So I've applied that into sort of my own home. So I would say being more systematic in my approach is what's the biggest change probably I've seen in the last decade. So again, I used to just kind of like walk in and be like, oh, I like this, and throw it together. Now I'm a little bit more conscious of getting that stuff set up. Well, what is the color palette, the design style, the space plan, getting that stuff all organized before I begin a project. I would say that's the biggest thing that's changed. Okay, I just found your channel today, and I love your topics and presentation. I'm catching up. I was wondering if you do design consultations, FaceTime, Zoom. Okay, yes, well, no, but yes, maybe. Basically right now, I don't do virtual consultations. This is all very new. The channel's basically really grown. I think I'm humbled by how amazing it's grown. Like I have like 32,000 subscribers over the last week, which is just absolutely insane that many of you watched my videos and thought, I'd like to see more from this guy. And that's really cool and kind of absolutely amazing and quite mind-blowing, to be honest. So what I've done, because I'm getting more and more requests, is I've set up a mailing list on nicklewis.ca. You can go take a look, you can sign up there, and when I release something, I'll announce it there. But basically, I think YouTube is awesome at giving really general advice for really general problems, right? Like I can do a video on rugs or wood tones or design styles or whatever, and I can do really sort of general advice there. But if you hire a designer, you're gonna get something completely customized to your individual space. So somewhere in the middle, I think a lot of you are looking for more direction from me. You're looking for something a little bit more tailored from me, which is very flattering, and thank you for that. but you're not necessarily ready to commit to like, you know, a designer coming in and doing the whole space, like paying somebody tens of thousands of dollars, which I totally understand. So I'm still figuring out what that looks like. I would love, love, love if you would comment down below and let me know what you'd like to see from me, because I think there's space in the middle. I think there's people that are looking for something a little bit more tailored, a little bit more customized to what they're looking for than what I'm able to offer here in like a YouTube comment or through DMs on Instagram. But you're also not ready to go to a full commitment of like hiring a designer. And that makes sense because they're crazy expensive and not everybody wants to do that. And that totally makes sense. So I'm trying to work on something in the middle here. So I don't have anything to announce yet because I don't really know what it's gonna look like, but I'm hoping in the next few months I figure something out. So leave a comment if you're interested in what you think I should do, and sign up for my mailing list if you wanna learn more for when I do have something to say. Okay, next up, I've got, hey, love your channel, thank you. My question is, do you think it is possible for a person with quite creative mind but no interior design education whatsoever to be able to decorate their house without help from a professional? Yes, because that's what I did. Yeah, no, I think you absolutely can. There's lots of ways to learn. You don't necessarily have to go to design school. That's not to slam design school. Of course not. No, you absolutely can do it yourself. Here's sort of my rule. If you don't have the skill to do something, or you don't have the time to do something and you don't want to learn the skill, then hire somebody, right? If you just want a beautiful space, but you don't want to learn about design and you don't have the time to go figure it all out, then go hire somebody and a designer will go and take it and do it all for you, and that works. But if you're interested in design and you want to learn more about it, and you want to develop that skill for yourself, or you do have the time to do it yourself, then absolutely you can learn it. There's lots of different places that you can learn about interior design, whether that's blogs, magazines, YouTube channels, maybe even people like me, or if you're fortunate like I have and you're able to actually work with designers, that's also amazing. But otherwise, I don't think you necessarily need to go to design school to do it. You can be somebody that just kind of learns it on their own and is able to apply it, assuming that you have that passion for it. There's no shame in also just hiring somebody if you don't have the time or you don't want to develop the skill. That makes total sense too. So there you go. Okay, I'm feeling cooped up from quarantine and wish I could travel, so don't we all? So from a design perspective only, what is your favorite city to visit and why? Okay, so actually I used to live in Amsterdam for about a year and a half. And I highly recommend checking out that city for just interior design, but even just architecture. And the Dutch are just amazing at being like incredibly pragmatic. They offer just really kind of simple, ingenious solutions to problems. And I think they're definitely, more people should learn from the Dutch. The rest of us should learn a lot from the Dutch. They're very, very smart people. Where else? I mean, there's the obvious, the greatest hits. You've got London, Paris, and Rome. I mean, those are obviously gorgeous. Definitely check those out. Iceland is one of the most magical places I've ever been. I was there maybe about 10 years ago, and Iceland is just probably one of the most gorgeous landscapes I think that I've ever seen, probably outside of Canada, to be honest. So definitely worth checking out. Where else did I love? Venice is gorgeous. So Venice to me, I just think of like, it's just got all sorts of different corridors and kind of nooks and crannies, and you're in a city, but yet you're in like a small alleyway that definitely just feels like you're miles away from everybody. It's so quiet and so cool because it's just like a connection of all these different alleys. So Venice is gorgeous. Lots of places, just travel more. 2020, I really wanted to go to Japan, and that's on my list. Maybe in like 2027 or whenever we're allowed to really travel again, I might actually be able to go. I'm finding myself more gravitated towards Asian design styles lately. So I'd love to go to Japan. That's kind of the next on my list. Okay, I would love to see some hauls from more Canadian stores like Simon's or HomeSense. Yes, totally. Okay, so I love my Canadians, love you. So the challenge I have sometimes with listing out Canadian retailers, and I try, like I talk about Article, and I talk about, I think I have mentioned HomeSense. I've also talked about like Rove Concepts. Like there's some Canadian retailers that I do touch on. The challenge is that most of my audience, like over 90% of my audience lives outside of Canada. And so it's not super, super relevant to them. I think what I might do is maybe a video on sort of highlighting different international retailers that look really cool from all over the world, because I think that would be something that would work better and be more relevant to sort of that international audience. But I hear you. As a Canadian, you know, I always love to see YouTubers from Canada that are talking about Canadian stuff. So I try to sort of interject it in there from time to time. But yeah, the challenge is it's just not relevant to a lot of the audience, but that's okay. I'll still mention them periodically, and maybe I'll do something, as I said, a little bit more international that kind of appeals to everybody. When decorating a new place from scratch, what are the key things to focus on? Space plan. I would say plan as much as you can up front, right? Really understand what that color palette's going to be. If you're going to use an interior design style, what is it? If you're going to borrow from different interior design styles, that's cool. Learn about how you're going to incorporate them together. Get samples. I talk to so many homeowners that don't realize that you can take samples, you can get fabric swatches, you can get wood samples, you can get tile samples, like get all that stuff home and make sure that it's all gonna work together, the undertones are all gonna work and you're really happy with things before you start to make a purchase. So I would say if you're starting from scratch, I would start there. Make sure you nail down those basics before you just kind of go in. I find homeowners, you just kind of get like jump in and get to the fun stuff. Like let's go pick out a couch and it's like, whoa, where's the couch going? How's it gonna fit? How does this work with the rest of the space? What's the palette going to be? Like ask yourself those questions before you go out shopping. Accent walls, are they in style? So I would say creating focal points in your space is always important. And that's something like, what is it that's gonna draw your eyes? So if it's gonna be like a fireplace, how are you gonna sort of emphasize that fireplace so that it really kind of draws the eye in? I would say that's more important than just painting random walls a certain color. So that is out. So I would say just picking a random wall in your room and painting it green is definitely out. I have seen that. I feel like that's something that they did on HGTV like 5, 6, 7, 10 years ago, maybe, I don't know. So that I would say is out, but I would say creating focal points and using things like paint or tile or some sort of, wood paneling or panel molding or whatever you're gonna do to be able to really accentuate that wall, I think is really awesome and something you can definitely do. What's your dog's name, breed, and how did you know she was the one? So this is Sophie. She is a cross black lab and a terrier. And yeah, she's a handful. So so we've been told, we don't really know what breed she is, to be honest. So she was originally from California. I think there was just a box of puppies found in a park somewhere and then taken to the shelter, and then they brought her up to Canada and now she lives here and she's come a long way. Like, don't feel sorry for her from her humble beginnings. She is very well taken care of here in Vancouver, trust me. Okay, what is your personal favorite style? So what is my personal favorite style? I would say I love them all, because I gotta be kind and respectful. As you know, I always like to do that on my channel. I would personally say, and I don't think this is gonna surprise any of you, that I really favor modern, clean designs. I tend to like things like Japanese Zen, I tend to like Scandinavian, I tend to like mid-century modern, just really sort of clean, contemporary designs that are just really clean and simple. I tend not to like a lot of ornamentation. I tend not to like a lot of detail. For color, I like neutrals, I like big pops of color, like I like it all, I'm all good there. I would say that I really love though, like when people do things that are really interesting. So I don't like boring. I'd say like no one likes boring, but I don't know if that's true. I see a lot of places that I think are actually reasonably boring. I don't like safe choices. I like big, bold, funky tile. I like big, bold color. I like big graphic wallpaper. I like rich metallics. And by the way, you're also gonna see my home in the home tour that I'm gonna do hopefully in about 6 weeks when I'm back in my apartment. But I've also got a really amazing new project that I think is gonna be coming up in the next couple of months. I don't want to announce anything because it's like not 100% happening, but you're gonna see a lot more of my style, I think, in the next couple of months. So look forward to that. Okay, and then what is the clock in your background from? So I wanted to answer this question because I get this question all the time. In my apartments, in my older videos, I have a big gray clock above my bar cabinet, and the clock is from CB2, but it's from 2 or 3 years ago, and they don't sell it anymore. I'm sorry, petition CB2, see if you can get that clock back, but a lot of you guys really seem to like it. If I had the link, I'd give it to you, but I don't. I think it's been discontinued. Sorry. Okay, so that's it for me for today, you guys. That is a bit of a Q&A. Hopefully you kind of got to know me a little bit better. We maybe got to see a different side of me than just sort of kind of throwing out knowledge that I have about interior design. I hope you enjoyed that, and I'll see you all in the next video. Thanks, bye.